Every year, Samsung and Apple go head to head, but this time it's not just about specs. It's about two radically different visions for what your phone should be.
It's that time of year again. The hype train is at full speed. The early betas are landing, and the big showdown is officially kicking off. But this year feels different.
On one side, Samsung hands you a massive toolbox, putting you in full control. On the other, Apple builds a smart assistant, predicting your needs before you even ask.
This isn't about market share or camera zooms. This is a clash of ideas, a battle over the philosophy of the device you use every single day. It all boils down to this: the toolbox versus the assistant.
But the reality? Early bugs, battery differences, and that eternal trade-off between freedom and simplicity. Control versus convenience. Power versus polish.
Narrator. On one side, a giant, powerful toolbox for you to build whatever you want. On the other, a super smart, predictive assistant that tries to do things for you. Two totally different visions.
All right, it's that time of year again. You know the drill. The hype train is at full speed, the early betas are landing, and the big showdown between Samsung's One UI and Apple's iOS is officially kicking off.
But here's the thing. This year feels different. It really does. So let's get right into it, because we're not just talking about a simple list of new features. No, this is way bigger. This is a clash of fundamental ideas about what your phone should actually be for you.
So yeah, we're calling this the new OS war. And look, this isn't about market share anymore, or who has the craziest camera zoom. This is a battle of ideas, a battle over the philosophy that's shaping the device you use every single day.
And really, it all boils down to this: the toolbox versus the assistant. On one side, you've got Samsung, and they're basically handing you this giant, powerful toolbox and saying, go build whatever you want. And on the other side, you have Apple, who's building this super smart, predictive assistant that tries to do things for you. It's two totally different visions for where your phone is headed. And this quote from Rockform, man, it just hits the nail on the head. We've got to forget about just megapixels and processor speeds for a minute. The biggest thing that's going to decide how you feel about your phone every day, it's their software philosophy. Okay, so let's dig into these two competing philosophies. We're going to break down what each company is really trying to do and what that actually means for you when you pick up your phone. So first up, let's talk about Samsung. Their whole philosophy is about empowering customization. And that Swiss Army knife approach, it's the perfect way to think about it. One UI is just jam-packed. It's loaded with features, settings, and options, and it's all designed to give you total control over every single pixel. And this toolbox is huge. You know, it starts with their hardware-first innovation. Think about something like Dex, which literally turns your phone into a desktop. Then you have this whole universe of settings to tweak. And of course, there's Good Lock. If you know, you know. It's the ultimate app for customization. One UI is, without a doubt, a platform built for power users, for people who love to tinker. Okay, now let's flip to the other side of the coin, Apple's philosophy of ambient intelligence. This is that smart companion idea we talked about. So instead of giving you a million toggles and switches, iOS 26 is all about being intelligent and proactive. It's using on-device AI to try and figure out what you need before you even ask. And it's doing it all quietly in the background with a huge focus on privacy. And you see this philosophy everywhere. It's in their new liquid glass design system, which is all about being clean and smooth. It's in how their AI runs right on your device, which is great for speed and privacy. And it powers these really smart features like Call Screen that can filter out a spam call before your phone even buzzes. It's all about that classic Apple "it just works" experience. Less clutter, more curation. All right, so let's get to the main event, the battleground of customization and AI. This is where you can really see these two different philosophies in action. When we say Samsung gives you a universe of customization, we're not kidding. You jump into their Good Lock app, and you can use modules like Theme Park to pull colors from your wallpaper and create a whole system-wide theme. Or you can use Keys Cafe to build a keyboard from scratch with custom animations and effects. You can literally change the look, the feel, the sound of just about everything. Apple, on the other hand, well, they're taking a much more curated approach. With iOS 26 and this liquid glass design, they're giving you some new options, but it's very guided. So no, you can't build a theme from the ground up, but you can apply this new tinted effect to your app icons, which makes them subtly match your wallpaper. It creates a really nice, cohesive look, but it's definitely Apple's vision, not yours. Now let's talk about AI. Samsung's approach is giving you a set of powerful, hands-on tools. You're the one in control. Think of something like generative edit in your photos. It's shockingly good at moving or removing things. Then you've got audio eraser to clean up your recordings, or instant slow-mo to make cool video clips. These are tools you actively use. And Apple's AI is the complete opposite. It's an ambient helper that just works quietly in the background. Their on-device AI powers things like real-time translation right in the middle of a phone call, or it can identify that song playing in the coffee shop, often without you doing a thing. It's AI that's trying to solve problems for you, and to do it privately.
Okay, but let's get real for a second. No matter how cool the philosophy is, there's always the reality of being an early adopter. And that means we absolutely have to talk about the two Bs, bugs and battery.
Look, this is just part of the game when you're on the bleeding edge. Any big software update, doesn't matter if it's Android or iOS, it's going to have some issues right out of the gate. That's just what it means to be an early adopter. And yeah, we're going to look at some early reports from One UI 8, but trust me, these kinds of things pop up everywhere at first. And some of the early bugs can be just plain weird. Like this one from Reddit user Deadline T, who said they're getting a weird buzzing sound from the front speaker, but only when the screen is on. That's the kind of thing that would drive you crazy, right? And it's exactly the kind of subtle, annoying issue you can run into. Then you have the little polish issues that just make everything feel a bit unfinished. Another user, rlime7, pointed out that the app icons were jittery when the opening animation starts. It's a tiny thing, but it's exactly what breaks that smooth, premium feeling you're supposed to have. And of course, the big one, battery life. This is the classic post-update complaint. User visual_dimension933 said their battery was draining super fast, but a simple cache wipe seemed to fix it. And that just goes to show you how wild the early experience can be. What's a huge problem for one person is a 5-minute fix for someone else. But okay, let's move past individual stories and look at some hard data. In a direct head-to-head battery test, the iPhone 17 Pro Max clocked in at almost 18 hours. The Galaxy S25 Ultra, about 14.5. Now that's a pretty big gap, over 3 hours, and it really comes down to that famous Apple advantage, that super tight integration between their hardware and software. When you design your own chips, you can just squeeze out so much more efficiency.
Okay, we've looked at the big ideas, the cool features, and the real-world headaches. So, what really matters? Let's bring it all home and figure out how you should actually think about this choice.
This table pretty much sums up the whole thing. It's really simple. If what you want is control, if you love to tinker and make things your own, One UI 8 is your dream playground. But if you care more about simplicity and privacy, if you want that it just works feeling, then iOS 26 is built for you. The trade-off couldn't be clearer. It's a massive toolbox with a learning curve versus a beautiful, simple assistant that's a bit more locked down. And that really leaves us with this one big question. Because at the end of the day, it's not about which OS is factually better. It's about which philosophy fits you. So, what do you want your phone to be? Do you want it to be a tool that you command, something you can bend and shape to your exact will? Or do you want it to be a companion that assists you, something that works in the background to make your life just a little bit easier? The answer to that question, well, that's everything.
So the question isn't which phone is better. The real question is, what do you want your phone to be? A tool that you command? Or a companion that assists you? The answer to that question changes everything.